inside. If you don't know anything about me, I'm Martha McSally, and I'm running for CD8 in the special election. I'm also running in CD2 in the regular election that's coming in August and November. I'm a fighter pilot by trade. I'm a retired Air Force colonel, and I had the privilege to be the first woman in U.S. history to fly in combat and also to command in combat. I grew up in Warwick, Rhode Island, but I went to the Air Force Academy at the age of 18. And I first came to Tucson in 1994 to go through my A-10 training there. And I since have been privileged to have 4 of my military assignments be in Tucson, Arizona at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base. So I bought my house in Rita Ranch in 1994. I bought some land in Elgin in 2006, although the bank still owns most of it. And my home is here, my church is here, my community is here. Most recently, I was serving as a professor of national security studies at a place called the George C. Marshall Center in Garmisch, Germany. And there I was training and teaching senior government officials from all over the world in some of their transition to democracy, capitalism, and the international security issues that are facing us all. I talked in there about, most recently, I had a class where I had students from all over the world, but it included a student from Greece. And here is this military officer in our class, and one day he seriously surprised us by asking the question of his colleagues, should a military officer still come to work every day if they're not being paid? And he was struggling with this as an individual, trying to feed his family and to serve his country and to do the right thing in a time where you've seen it in the news. I mean, what's going on in Greece right now is extraordinarily tumultuous. Their future is at stake. Their economic future, their social future is at stake. And this was personal. I mean, this guy was serving his country, and he was in this dilemma and wondering what it looks like for him and his next generation. And, you know, we were doing an exercise at the time and trying to address some of the difficult issues that all of our nations have to face. And I took a look at, do you know that in 2001, Greece's debt was about 103% of their gross domestic product, right? Everything that's produced and every amount of work that's done in their whole country is about 103%. And their economy was still growing. I mean, they had a positive growth rate in their economy until about 2009, even though their debt was at that level. The things that were just passed in the last few days is trying to get them down, really gut them out, to get them back down to about 120% of their gross domestic. They're up to like 160 now, okay? And the severe measures they're taking is going to get them back down to about 120 by 2020. I mean, 2020, it's 8 years of suffering to get them back to 120% of GDP. Do you know what the U.S.'s debt is as a percentage of their GDP right now? 102%. So we are now where Greece was 10 years ago. Okay? And I don't think Greece 10 years ago would want to be on the vector to get them to where they are today. And I think we can all agree that we don't want to be in 10 years where Greece is right now. Right? So, again, I've seen this in Europe. I've seen this with these people. This is real. I mean, that person is no different than you and me. But our country is going in a direction, as you know, where our debt is out of control. It's not politics, it's math. We've all taken math in school. We have to look at the math, and we have to figure out how to rein that debt in so that our vector starts going in the right direction here to get it under control. And the way to do that is to get the economy growing again. And the way to do that is to rein in the federal government. That the federal government is not going to solve these problems. We need to get the federal government out of the way. We need to get the suffocating regulations out of the way. We need to get the overreach and the overspending out of the way so that the American small businessmen and large businessmen can flourish and produce those jobs for hardworking people like you and me. Right?
Yes, yes.
So, you know, we need real jobs. We need jobs where people can support their families. We look at what we have here. We're a national security community. I mean, we've got military bases, we've got defense industry, we've got border patrol, we've got all sorts of national security jobs here. We need to make sure that we protect those jobs because that's a part of our local economy. We need to increase the opportunities in those jobs. We need to attract new businesses. We need to make sure that our nation's finest in the military bases that we have here and the homeland security opportunities are here for those jobs. But we need to also stimulate so that we have, the opportunity for new jobs, okay? So new biotech type jobs and other jobs for real growth jobs coming in our community. So we need to do that, and we need to do it by getting the federal government out of the way, by stop strangulating small businessmen with their overreach and their overspending, so that we can prosper once again and get our vector going in the right direction.
Yes.
The third issue, debt, economy, border, the top three that I'm talking about. The border issue is not just a tactical issue of securing the border. Look, we must secure our border.
That's right.
We got to have the political will. We have the ways and means. We just need the political will to secure our border. But we need to also look at this strategically. This is a national security threat that's in our neighborhood. We have transnational criminal organizations that are coming into our neighborhoods trafficking people, weapons, drugs, money, the kidnappings. I mean, you've seen it. This is serious business. They're militaristic in their nature, and it's in our backyard. And so we need to have the political will to secure our border and strategically look at the root causes in order to stop those threats from coming our way.
That's right.
Yep. My last military assignment as a colonel was at U.S. Africa Command. And I was responsible for addressing these kind of threats that are... Amen. That I was dealing with these threats in Africa. I understand transnational criminal threats. I understand those, and I know how to combat them. I've got that experience at the strategic level. I'm also the person who, if you've seen it in the news, I don't know if you remember, but I was the one who took on the Pentagon over them making our women wear Muslim burqa when they represent the United States. I tried to fight this thing for 6 years. It's a long story, but my oath of office is to the Constitution of the United States.
Yes, that's right.
My oath of office was not to unconstitutional policies of the people above me, okay? And as an officer, you hope you never come to that point where you got to make a decision, but I put my career on the line. I took on the Pentagon, and we won. I mean, I personally wrote and shepherded legislation through the House and the Senate to overturn that policy once and for all, 8 years after I started trying to get it changed, okay? So I know how to get, as a citizen, I knew how to get legislation through Congress. I happened to spend a year on Capitol Hill, by the way, as a major, as a legislative fellow. So I understand how to get legislation through Congress, and I've personally done as a citizen how much more I will do for you as a congresswoman. So as we gather here today, I just want to offer you, please check out my website, mcsallyforcongress.com. You'll see who I am, what I believe in, what the issues are. But right now we need leadership, we need moral courage, and we need national and international level experience to get us going in the right direction. And I'm that person who's going to bring it to this community for you in Washington, D.C. Thank you. What's that?
When we get the will, what's your method for securing the border?
Amen. We need to look at it again. I'm a military officer, so we need to use the technologies that are there to actually physically secure it using physical means, sensors, fences, barriers, fences where appropriate, sensors, lights, airborne capabilities, intelligence-driven operations. I mean, we're doing this in 11 and a half time zones away in Afghanistan, and we could at least do it in our backyard in Mexico.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, we also need to, airborne on the ground, again, intelligence-driven operations we need to consider.
So full-on militarization.
Well, we need to secure the border. I did not say full-on militarization. I said we need to take it seriously and use the means that we have learned to have intelligence-driven operations. We also need to look operationally at those transnational criminal organizations, see what their routes are, see what their areas are that they control, and we have to work with our partners to the south to figure out how to get to the root causes. If you look at the money that we've invested in this whole thing, it's rounding error compared to what we've invested in places like Afghanistan. So we have to take it seriously, okay? This is serious business, okay? You're going to see on my website and my core values, I'm not going to demonize anybody. I'm not into polarization. We're all in this together, okay? We've got to move forward. I've stood up for what's right. I've stood up for the Constitution, and I'm ready to stand up for you guys. And I really need your vote. Thanks.
What about
people were already standing up initially, let's say that one, or let's say with the pimps and the trolls coming across the border, let's say Mercy Ministries or Street Light Tucson, or other people who are actually doing that, being there, actually in the trenches with the people. Are you thinking about helping to incorporate so these people like these small people can stand up along with?
Securing our border is a federal government responsibility, and a lot of the things that are coming up from the state and from individual citizens are happening because the federal government is failing to do its job. Okay, so the federal government is doing lots of things that they shouldn't be doing, and at the same time they're not doing the things that they should be doing. So in Washington, D.C., I will be focusing on, really, the congresswoman from this district needs to lead this effort because this community is affected like none other in the country with this issue. So I get that, and I'm going to provide that leadership to get the federal government to do its job.
Way to go, yes!
Yes, sir.
Canadian border.
What's that?
We got to secure the Canadian border.
Amen. I agree with you. Our borders are, thank you for bringing that up. I mean, this district obviously is focused on the southern border. We have issues on the northern border. We got issues in our ports. We got issues about things that are flying in. So we have got to look at a holistic approach to make sure that America is secure for those who are trying to do us harm. We need to know who's coming into our country and what their intentions are. So that's absolutely a national level focus that needs to happen, although I'd be representing this district specifically in the issues we have here. Great. Thanks a lot for your time. Sorry you didn't make it in. And I look forward to seeing you out there. Thanks for your